You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans. Well, you know, we've known for a while when we would see Doug Williams' funeral and the well-deserved tribute to Bill Hayes. And now we know the episode date of when Julie's husband dies. It is going to be next week, and it hits on a family holiday. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and let's dig into the details. And if you haven't, please click subscribe. Now, you know, we've had about 11 months to prepare ourselves, but even so, I don't think most Days fans are ready to say goodbye to Doug Williams. We lost Bill Hayes at age 98 on January 12th of this year. And he and Susan Seaforth Hayes had been married 50 years at the time of his death. That is amazing. And if you don't remember, Bill's last air date where he appeared as Doug was on July 11th, 2024. And that was the culmination of 54 years on Days of Our Lives. And that last episode of Bill Hayes came 6 months after he passed away. And he and Susan knew this was going to be his last appearance on the soap. So it was a huge milestone. It was a big moment. And at the point that they filmed this, Susan said that Bill was almost totally blind when he filmed those scenes. And if you look back knowing that, you can kind of see that he's a little visually unfocused. And, you know, I think he's listening for the sound of her voice on where to look. So on that episode on July 11th, their characters, Julie and Doug, talked about their enduring love, how he changed to deserve her, and how he brought out the best in Julie. And it's kind of just a reflection, a mirror of their real life romance and, you know, how they met on the show. And he did some changing to deserve her, and he did bring out the best in Susan, and it was so sweet. And then their characters shared a kiss, and I was tearing up watching it. I'm sure you guys remember it. And now, of course, we are at the end of an era. So the episode last week on November 12th marked the beginning of the end for Doug Williams. There was a scene where Julie had called upstairs to her husband about getting him some more soup. And as she came down, she found Jack Devereaux at the door. And Julie told him that Doug was dealing with a really bad cold and was very hard hit by the news that Abigail was not really back from the dead. And so that's the lead in to the sad events coming soon that are going to absolutely devastate Julie. And of course, that Susan Hayes already lived through in real life. So next week on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, November 28th, that's the episode when Doug Williams passes away. JJ's already in town, and that day, his parents, Jack and Jennifer Devereaux, arrive in Salem for Thanksgiving. And on that Thursday episode, Jack goes up to check on Doug and finds that he's passed away. They have some sort of body double. I'll show you guys the picture where Jack has his hand on somebody's head, somebody with silver hair that looks, you know, somewhat like, but they're not showing his face because clearly, you know, it was not Bill Hayes. And once he realizes that Doug is gone, Jack's got to come down and break the terrible news to Julie. Fortunately, Eli and Lani are also in town for Thanksgiving. And after they spend time with Lani Price and Abe Carber, they come over to see Julie and offer her comfort. So, you know, definitely have your tissues ready. Make sure you're ready for anguish and tears. I'm personally going to make sure that I get up. I'm going to watch first thing in the morning early on Thanksgiving Day so I can recover and then start cooking my pies because I don't want tears in my pies. So the tears, of course, are going to continue, carry over onto Friday, November 29th, as word spreads across Salem that Doug Williams passed away quietly in his sleep. And that is the day that we will also see Hope Brady back with her son, Sean Douglas Brady. Bo Brady is not back for any of these scenes. He is still at this point in the storyline comatose. He will be back on his feet and back to himself and allegedly reunited with Hope, but that is a storyline for 2025. So on Friday, Julie is in full shock, disbelief, and grief mode as next week ends. Then the following week, coinciding with Days of Our Lives' 15,000th episode on Wednesday, December 4th, that's when we'll have the very sad funeral for Doug Williams, which will also serve as a loving tribute to the legacy of amazing actor Bill Hayes and his long career on Days of Our Lives. We're also going to see a lot of returns coming in. Some may start on Friday, more on Monday, December 2nd. Marie Horton is back in town. Sierra Brady is back in town, not expecting to see Ben Weston. Lucas Horton is back. And plus, we're going to get a real throwback comeback with Julie's brother, Steve Olsen, returning to Salem. Fan favorite Liz Chandler, who hasn't been around in a minute, is back. And of course, Belle Black is already in town. We'll see her. Obviously, one person that will not be on hand, very sadly, is John Black, because Drake Hogestyn was so sick at this point that he was no longer filming at Days. The same day that word spreads in Salem about Doug's death, we're going to see Marlena giving Kayla an update about what is going on with John Black. He's off on that ISA mission. And very soon, Marlena heads to see Shane Donovan because John goes missing. And then, of course, we have to say goodbye to another beloved character, John, because Drake Hogestyn passed away on September 26th this year. But he had wrapped filming many, many months before that because he was just so sick. So for now, get ready to say the very saddest of farewells when Doug Williams, the character, passes away on the Thanksgiving Day episode. And then a week later, in addition to Doug's funeral, we say a final sad goodbye and get a huge tribute to actor Bill Hayes. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I don't know how Susan Hayes is holding herself together to film these scenes. And I expect that my tears are probably going to come from watching Susan, knowing that those tears that she is crying, that's not acting work. Those are real tears for the loss, not only of her longtime, screen partner, but her real life husband. So rest in peace, Bill Hayes, and have your tissues ready. Doug Williams passes away on Thanksgiving Day.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.